Hello, I'm just doing a video. Somebody asked me to do some work for a sub box similar to mine, but for 2 Sundown Audio SA8 v2's instead of 4. So this is what I have come up with so far. This is a video for Casey Fickling. Yeah, you asked if you can use you have the same subs and you want to know if you can use the same box but smaller for 2 of your subs instead of 4. So we've been going back and forth for comments and stuff on there. First thing, I appreciate a lot the views and the comments. I'm new with all this sub box building, but so far mine has been pretty good. I had a cheap amp hooked up to mine and it was loud. So let me just get right to it and show you what I got. Mine here is on the left. Mine is 30, let me get my pen here, 30 inches deep, 32 inches wide. And it is in 2D right now, so it is 10 inches tall but not shown. The port I have is in the middle, and it's 13 inches wide on either side. And then I have, since I have 4 subs, I have 1 on the side, 2 on the front, and 1 on the other side. Then my terminals are in the back. I put 2 terminals in, but I only ended up using the 1, and I just ran the wire through the back of the port. But so as you can see, these ones here are the inner dimensions, the 11.5 and the 25.5. My port is 6 inches wide, and then my port, since the box is 30 inches deep, and then I have the port wall here 3 inches away from the back. That means this piece here, I didn't write it down, is 27 inches long. I mean, if you want to be technical, you take away the thickness of the wood, which is why this is the inner dimensions, 11.5. Take away an inch and a half, 0.75 for each side. So that's normally 13, but inner dimensions is 11.5 and 25.5 for my box. I did some work here. I have horrible handwriting, so hopefully you can comprehend that. This is the cubic feet of airspace per side on mine. 1.441311, which is just 1.4 to me. I have the website up for Sundown, the SA8 point, if it'll focus, right here. Come on. 0.5 to 0.75 cubic feet of air for a porta box per sub. So since I have 4 and 2 per side, I have 1.4 per side, so that's a little bit over 0.7 cubic foot of airspace per sub, which is right in the recommended zone. So to get that, everything is in inches, but on there it's the cubic foot. So you take each measurement and divide it by 12, since there's 12 inches per foot. And you want to do this before. You don't want to multiply all the inches and then divide by 12, because you'll get some wrong answer. You want to divide each thing by 12 where you multiply. So I divided each one by 12, got the answers there, and then multiplied it to get my airspace. So for you, what I did was, the only dimension I changed here's the one of yours. Since you're only having 2 subs instead of 4, I don't see the need for a 6-inch wide port, especially when it's 8.5 inches tall. My box is 10 inches tall, but you have to take into account for the 1.5 inch worth of MDF on the top and bottom, 0.75, 3/4 inch on top and bottom, for a total of 1.5 inches. So 8.5 by 4 would probably be perfect for 2. I did all the calculations and stuff. In the back of here, I made yours 4 inches because mine are 5. I keep mine 3 inches away because what I did was, since mine are 6, my port's 6 inch wide, it's going to either side. I just cut it in half to where it's 3 and 3, so it's 3 and 3 going to 6. So here I'm putting yours 2 inches away, so it's 2 and 2 going into 4. And then I was calculating stuff for port length, and it was saying that you only needed a 2 inch wide piece or 2 inch long piece here, but that's not, it can't be right, because I did the same thing for mine. I made mine a little bit longer, and it just is awesome. So just go with the 4 inch there. Can't really get wrong. So what I did with yours, since you're only doing 2, like I said, 1 on each side, mine has 25.5 internal. Now when you're doing cubic foot airspace, you don't count the space here in the port area. You don't count that. So what you do is you only count what's in this box here inside. So you take 25.5 divided by 12, do everything like that. So since I didn't change either of these 2 dimensions, which is the 11.5 and the height, and we changed the depth of the box, I have put 12.5 for the inside of yours, right there. So I took 12.5 divided by 12 and got 1.041, then use those numbers, the 2 right there, for focus. It's pretty close. The 0.958 and the 0.708, and multiplied all that together, and that got 0.706 cubic foot airspace per side. And that's about what I have per sub. It's just that yours will work with 2 subs instead of 4. So that's the airspace that you'll have on either side, on both sides I should say, of the box if you build it to these dimensions. Now I did change the width of the box to 30 inches because mine is 32, but all I did was take it out of the port. Since I took it 2 inches down, took it 2 inches down in the port, so I didn't change the width of the space in here. All I did was basically cut the 2 inches out of the port to make this port smaller. 4 inch by 8.5 inch wide port is still pretty beefy of a port. Now, you always want to make sure you put 45s in all the corners. I didn't draw them in here because I just kind of hurried up and did this, but 45s, all the corners, even these ones here, all the corners. Now, I have 45s, like the video you comment on, I have 45s in there. I can't remember, but I know they're around 2 inches or so, but I do know that corner here, let's focus this, corner there to corner there is 3 inches just like it is here, so it's like 3 inches the whole way around. Now, I did some kind of fancy equations and stuff to figure that out because at school is where I designed my box, and I used Autodesk Inventor, which is about $1,000 program, just to help figure that out. So if you don't want to mess around with cutting the 245s here and making it centered and everything, then you could probably, what I would do is, if you didn't want to do that, put one piece of MDF down the whole center of your port. Now, so if you put center here, that means there'd be 2 90-degree angles there, so you'd want to put 45s there anyways. So either way, you're gonna be messing with 45s, and if you put a thing down the whole way, down the center of this whole thing, you'll have less room to work with, and you'd have to change the dimensions of the stuff. So just take the scrap wood. I actually got my whole box out of 1 sheet of MDF with some leftover. You just have to plan it out right and cut it right. Don't just start cutting out of it. Write a sheet out, measure it up, do some dimensions on a sheet of paper, and get a cut list. So that way you know where to cut, what to cut, and save as much wood as possible. I did that, and I got my huge box out of 1 sheet of MDF with probably about a 1.5 foot wide strip by 4 foot strip left of MDF. and that was a pretty big box. So you can easily do this with one piece and still have stuff left over to mess with these 45s until you get it to where you want it. So what I would do is mess with it until you have 45s like line in the center, like this. But make sure yours will be 2 inches. Mine says 3, but you want it to be 2 inches from corner to corner, so that way it's the 2 inch the whole way. That's why I drew that curve like that. You want 2 inch the whole way. Now, obviously, it's not going to be 100% perfect. Mine isn't either, because you're not using complete curves. You're doing angles and stuff, so it'll be up and down, but you don't want, as long as it's not like mine's 3 inches here, as long as it's not like 1 inch here, you'll be good. You want it to be kind of close. Like for 3 inch, you would want it within like 1/4 of an inch difference. So like if mine was 3 inch and I had corner to corner 2 3/4 inch, that would be acceptable. So when you're making yours, try to keep it between 1 3/4 and 2 3/4 away. Just mess with some 45s there and just make it like that, and believe it or not, it makes a world of a difference. And like you see in the video, make sure you use caulking the whole way around everything, everywhere. That'll definitely help with sealing the box. But yeah, these are the dimensions that I came up with, and you would have your speakers in the front there. That's where those lines are, and then you'd have to just cut out the things with a router. But there's a good look at the dimensions. You have the right airspace. Outside dimensions 30 by 16 by 10 inches high. So comment, tell me what you think. If you have any questions about anything at all, just go ahead and comment. And anybody else that's watching this video, if you have any opinions on what you would do, go ahead and chime in. It won't bother me any. But for me, I trust me, I'm not gonna make dimensions for somebody's box and make it shit. I didn't put as much time into mine, because when I did mine, I didn't know anything about it, but now that I know what I know, I was able to do it a little faster. But I actually thought about it. I got on the computer, did some research to refresh my memory on what I had to do, get these plans, and I went off mine since I didn't change much, so that saved a lot of time. So there you are. Just give you some time on the dimensions there so you can see them. But that's pretty much it. So I appreciate, once again, watching. Please share the video, tell people, look me up, like me, subscribe, whatever you want to do. Like I said, I'm still waiting. I know on that video that you started commenting on, I was saying about getting a Soundstream amp, but now I have on back order a Crescendo 2000D amplifier. It actually does 2,250 watts. So I'll be putting a video up on that. It's supposed to ship out probably about Wednesday this week, but I don't know. It's been on back order. I ordered it December 30th, so I don't know when it's actually going to ship out. I haven't done a video on YouTube for a while now. Actually, I'll show you. I had the amp that I used. I actually had a little 600 watt Audiobahn 4-channel amp, which I seem to misplace somewhere. Right here. This is a Audiobahn 600 watt, kind of glare. Yeah, 604. It's an older amp. There's it has the fuses in there. You can bridge it. It'll do either, I think it was like 75 watts by 4 channels, or it'll do 300 watts twice on 2 channels bridged. So but that was at 2 ohms. I ran this thing at 1 ohm hard every day until it blew up, which actually took a while. I give it a lot of credit. It was pushing 4 Sundown Audio S8 V2.